Now let's speak to Hassan Khannenje. He is the director of Horn International Institute for Strategic Studies, and he joins us now live from Nairobi. Very good to have you here on the program, sir. Paul Kagame is describing himself as the stability candidate. Do you agree with that?
Largely, yes. Largely, I do agree with the fact that he's ensured that Rwanda maintains a high degree of stability for much of the last 30 years since the end of the Rwandan genocide in July of 1994. And when you look around the region, I think it's going to be hard, to argue with that, despite some of the concerns, of course, that may be raised by outsiders, especially some Western countries.
Polls are going to be closing in about 20 minutes, but there have been some allegations made against Kagame that he's oppressing the opposition and journalists. What's your take on that?
I think it's a little bit more complex. Most countries that are emerging from post-conflict, situations, they tend to face very extreme circumstances that require, number one, a balance between justice, political openness, but also peace as well as stability. And it's a very delicate balance. And so as much as perhaps a lot of an average Rwandan may not exactly be exercising some of the civic and political rights, like let's say neighboring Kenya or some other countries, the truth is there's also a great deal of growth and stability and development that has been registered. And I think Kagame uses that to make a case that we are simply trying to operate within our circumstances and within the kind of constraints we face. And therefore, it's not so much about importing a Western model of democracy, but we are having an organic Rwandan kind of democracy that is speaking with the interests and meeting the needs of its people.
There have also been some accusations from the UN, for example, that Rwandan forces have helped the M23 rebel group in neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. Is this a problem for Kagame?
It is not exactly a problem for Kagame in this election. Of course, it may be a problem for Kagame internationally or within the region, especially insofar as its relationship with the Democratic Republic of Congo is concerned. And I think it's a question of the completed scenario of coming to the 1994 genocide. And you have an ethnic problem there in Eastern DRC that needs to be addressed, because those tensions actually emerge from the ashes of the genocide in 1994. And as long as that is not discussed openly and confronted, I think there's still going to be a challenge, especially in the Great Lakes region and in Eastern DRC. But it's not going to be so much a challenge to Paul Kagame when it comes to his ability to either win this election or govern Rwanda.
So what do you think is going to happen today? What kind of results should we expect?
We expect, again, much like what happened in the previous election, there's likely to be a landslide, victory, probably between 80 or over 90% of those who are going to turn out to cast their vote. And part of it, that is going to be a demonstration of a vote of confidence by many Rwandans, considering some of the polls that have come out in recent weeks. Paul Kagame is expected to get another year in office, another term in office.
We'll see when the results come out. Thank you very much for joining us, Hassan Khannenje, here on TRT World.
Thanks for having me.